because do you think South Carolina plays a physical brand of basketball? And how well do you think your guys have stood up to that this year?
I think you know, it's a learning opportunity every time you play somebody, regardless of how they play. I think that's what we're talking about with our guys. Every time that we take the floor, it's an opportunity to prepare yourself for March. You're going to see somebody along the way that plays slow. You're going to see somebody that plays zone. You're going to see someone that, you know, plays physical. So, you know, I think whenever you're playing a team like South Carolina, you got to be prepared for the physicality, and you know, they're playing fast on offense. They make you work before you get the ball on offense. So it's something that I think we're prepared for. We've played teams that play physical. We've played teams that, you know, try to take you out of offense, and so I think by the time tomorrow evening rolls around, we'll be prepared.
What do you mean by they make you work before you get the ball on offense?
Well, I think they try to take away catches. They try to extend your catches out on the floor. You know, basically trying to take you out of offense, out of plays. So it's a style that, you know, sometimes players are more excited to play in the game because it's, as we say, it's a little bit of a hooper's game. You know, you're not going to have to run a lot of plays. It's going to be, are you prepared to go and make plays? And I think as a coaching staff, and I think what Cal's going to try to do is put our guys in positions to where they feel comfortable to just go and make plays.
Is there a certain time in practice you kind of saw the light switch turn on for PJ, or has it been gradual throughout the season?
No, I think PJ's mindset has been different as the whole season kind of started in June. You know, when we were practicing for the Bahamas, we had summer practices. You know, PJ was a guy that was oftentimes one of the first guys out to practice. You know, and just like games, I think you see guys become, you know, that catalyst that Cal has been longing for. I think with PJ, you saw it in practice with his mindset. I think you've seen it when we are doing conditioning, and he's routinely the guy that's finishing first or second or near the top of every competitive drill that we're doing. And, you know, I don't know that there's been, you know, a time when you say that the light, you know, came on or an aha moment. I think the credit goes to PJ on being a steady, you know, guy every single day in practice. He's been tremendous in huddles, both at timeouts and, you know, from what we've seen on the floor. And you got to have that when you have so many young guys, and when you have only a couple guys that have game experience, road experience, conference play experience, and you're happy for him that he feels comfortable enough to really step up and be that guy.
Sometimes where a guy's making like incremental progress or a little progress at a time, and then all of a sudden he makes a leap just because of making that progress. He puts those things together more than a light coming on? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's the same thing that, you know, we talk about, you know, with all of our guys. I mean, it's a process. It's something that you have to, you know, be ready for every day, and I think that's one of the biggest points that we talk about, you know, even in recruiting is, you know, this is a place where you're going to get better every single day because you have to come to work every day, or someone's coming, you know, for you. And I think that PJ has definitely been that guy this year that has done, you know, a little bit more of the kind of the swinging and connecting than the guy who's kind of taken, you know, some of the punches. And that's what you've got to have with experienced guys. You know, he's the guy that's been the hammer more than the nail. And I think when you have young guys, you know, they've got to hopefully evolve into that person over time. There's not going to be like a switch that just kind of flicks on. It's going to come with time. It's going to come with experience.
They always say freshmen have to learn how to play defense. They did in high school. They didn't have to play it as intently. Is passing out of a double team, is that something that's new, relatively new to players? Because so many, especially bigs, because it seems like they don't want to post.
I mean, I think any of the, I guess, skills that you need in big-time college basketball, our guys learn and get better at, over time. It's something that we'll drill. We'll show it to them on film. But they ultimately get more and more comfortable. As it happens in the game, they have success. It's kind of a little bit of what we've kind of kept saying. I think you can practice it and you can drill it all you want, but until you do it in the games, that's where you really gain, your main confidence is having the faith to go out and do it, see it work, and then be comfortable to do it again.
What do you think of Silva as a challenge?
Yeah, no, he presents a major challenge for us. He's very physical. He gets fouled a ton. Has a great, I think, sense, number one, of creating fouls, drawing fouls. And he's a little bit like an Ashton Higgins in that he just kind of pops up, blocks a shot, gets a steal. You knock him over and it's a charge. He's just a pest, really on defense. Very similar to what, people are describing Ashton, as being, and as a little bit of, like I said, I would say a pest in the low post.
After the game, Calipari and Mike White both kind of mentioned some little plays, get behind the defense. Are you guys starting to make the plays that may seem insignificant in the moment, but are obviously kind of game changers more now than you were early in the season?
Well, I think guys are more aware of every play mattering, that every play matters. Kind of, what you're alluding to in high school, all right, that's just one play, all right, that's one play, all right, that's not that big of a deal. Now that we've played, 20-something games, counting exhibitions, counting blue-white, we've been pointing out those, little plays since November. So I think they understand as big of a play of, a free throw line block out on both sides of the ball. When you don't block out, like we did 4 or 5 times against Auburn, maybe got away with it, as we won, but we had plays in that game that we didn't block out on free throws, and Auburn got the offensive rebound, maybe didn't make us pay, versus now you look at EJ's effort play that he makes, gets it, and we ultimately get a tip in. Emmanuel's big rebound, big two-handed rebound there. He had 2 of them, but the one that he got credit for and then got fouled and then goes down and makes, the front end of a 1-and-1 and the second one. Now you're talking, plays that you start adding all those up, they make a major difference, especially in what we would call winning time.
What do you see in the huddle when these guys get down by 10, 11 points? There doesn't seem to be a panic about them. Is it because they've had to do it so many times?
No, I think it's a group of young people coming together and having faith in each other. And as someone who works with them, you can't be, more proud of these guys and how they're taking, the initiative to be more vocal in huddles, both on the floor, off the floor. And that's what ultimately you want as a coach and as a coaching staff. And I know Coach Cal has said that too. At some point, this has to be a player-driven team, and I think you're starting to see that. It's a group of guys that are empowered in practice, off the floor, during the game. You've had multiple, times now where different guys have stepped up, challenged each other. Other guys have embraced, the player-driven coaching, as you might say, and that's ultimately what you want when you're a coach. And that's when, teams are at their best, is when they're player-driven. And you got to be proud of that, and you got to feel good about it, as you go into February, that this team is empowered, that individuals feel confident that they can lead, because when you step up and lead, you've got to know that you're doing everything the right way as well. And I think by and large, that's what our guys are doing.
I think the committee releases their top 16 on Saturday for the first time When do you guys start talking about seeding, that you're playing for the highest possible seed?
I don't know that we've ever talked about it, in my 5 years, here. I think that Cal talks about becoming our best version today, in about 25 minutes when we take the floor, and we've got to prepare. Our biggest opponent is us. That's who we're fighting against right now. Every single day we can't, accept who we are. We've got to keep pushing, both individually and collectively. We've got to remain hungry. We've got to remain humble. That's the biggest challenge that we have when you have young guys, that now people are talking about them individually, us as a group that, there for a while people were, kind of kicking us and talking about other folks and other teams, and rightfully so. There are other good teams out there, and I think what we're trying to do is just become better today, and then ultimately see where we are tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
Couple more guys.
How much better do you think you guys are when the game is making plays as opposed to running plays?
I think we're more comfortable, and that's all that you can ask for as a coach, is that you put guys in positions to where they feel comfortable to make plays. Ultimately, the guys have to go and make plays. I don't know how often teams do that with us, because we have pretty good players. Sometimes people want us to have to run plays and play offense, which is why I think sometimes our guys' eyes light up, when we get to play up and down in a high-paced, up-tempo game. What you can't then do is not guard on the defensive end, because it's getting up and down. You've got to then guard, and you've got to have a focus on it, and you just can't be ready to play offense each time.
What do you think a team like South Carolina can have such a bad non-conference showing and just turn it on in SEC play and beat some really good teams and look solid?
I think they're a good team. I think they had a couple bad bounces early. I think they've had a couple good bounces here in conference play, but they're very good. They've got some good young players that are getting experience and older. I think they have big guys that are tough, that are physical, that make you have to play their style of play inside. And once again, I think some of it is they've made plays in key points of winning time, both at home and on the road. But I think with everything else, I think teams change. They get better or they get worse. I think you see a team like South Carolina that's getting better as the season goes on.